Hello guys, welcome back onto the channel. It's been a while since I brought an online racing GT Sport to the channel. I was focusing mainly on the GT League, which turned out to be a major letdown because of the AI difficulty. So this video is not new, I recorded it I think last month, but I was putting off editing it because I had other stuff to do. But anyways, back into the race, we're gonna start out in 6th. This is Autodrome Lago Maggiore, a track that I'm very familiar with, and surprisingly I managed to set a fairly decent qualifying time, which is not usual for me. We're driving the Hyundai Genesis. Uh, I haven't driven this car a whole lot. I think it mostly in the, I think, Mission Challenge, if I'm not mistaken. So this is not a car that I'm very familiar with, but it feels really nice to drive. It's very stable, and it's it's not that fast, but it isn't slow either. But anyways, we're still in 6th position. Uh, there's a battle going on, a three-way battle going on in front of us, and that's good because they're gonna slow each other down. That is, if I don't make mistakes like this. I just drove myself out of the track, and of course they managed to pull away quite a bit, and I'm about to get overtaken by this guy driving the Porsche 911. And I think this is the 911 or the RSR. I don't remember. I don't even know if they are the same car. But anyways, uh, this guy made a mistake, so we managed to overtake him. So we're up in 5th place. I'm gonna try to reel the 4th place in because the field is starting to spread out, and that's not good. The ideal situation for me would be that the three-way battle continued so that they slowed each other down, and then this way I could capitalize and maybe get closer to them. But anyways, we're crossing the line into the 2nd lap. Moving on to the 2nd lap of the race in this banked section. We're gonna take this corner pretty awfully, and somehow this guy, well, somehow not, it was pretty obvious that he would be able to catch up to us, but somehow we managed to keep our position, at least for now, and we are quickly approaching the 5th place, the Italian guy driving the Beetle. He seems to be a little bit all over the place, maybe struggling to keep the car under control, which is quite surprising because this Beetle is feels very stable and it's really quick. It's a quick car for this class, so this is a car that you need to know how to drive. It's not just a matter of getting the quickest car and then you're gonna be set. And especially so with the Beetle, because even though it's very stable, it can be hard to control uh, over corners. We just got overtaken by the Porsche guy, the American one, and we're back in 6th position, the position we're started in. And I don't remember this race exactly, but I think that this guy in the Porsche, I think he's way faster than I am. I don't know, I might be mistaken. But yeah, I remember that over the first few weeks after the game was released, this corner that we just took was one that most people used to get wrong. But at this point, many people figured it out and they don't make any more mistakes in there. And the Porsche guy just drove himself out of the tracks just slightly, and he lost a little bit of control and also speed. So we got back the 5th position, and now it's just a matter of trying to reel the other guys in. Somebody just spun out and we got a free position. I don't know what happened there, but I know that with some of the cars, if you go full throttle over that section, your car tends to slide quite a bit, so it's quite a tricky section to learn. So we're up in fourth place. We're about to cross the line into the last lap of the race. So we only have about 2 minutes left before the race is over. So I'm gonna try to make the most of it and see if we can at least finish in the podium. The three-way battle is still going on, but somehow I'm not catching up to them. In fact, they are pulling away from me, and I guess it shows that I'm driving a little bit slower than I was supposed to. And that's the thing about Gran Turismo Sport. You find a lot of good racers way more often than you do in Forza Motorsport, for example. And so, because of this reason, it's way more difficult for you to win races unless you're really good at this game. But anyways, the guy in front of us, I think it is the Beetle guy. He kind of fishtailed a little bit a couple corners ago, and we managed to gain quite a bit on him. But I don't think that's gonna be enough for us to overtake him unless he makes a mistake. But we're kind of running out of time. We just have a couple corners left before the race is over. So let's see if we can do anything about it. Maybe force a mistake. I don't know. And I don't know. This guy is driving pretty aggressively, so I wouldn't be all surprised if he incurred some sort of penalty that he hasn't run out yet. So let's see once we cross the line. Yeah, he had a penalty, so he slowed down. And I think, yeah, we're gonna get third place because he had to slow down in order to run out the penalty. And his time was actually quite good because just a couple attempts slower than us in the gap. So that was a good timing for him. He didn't lost too many positions, and he managed to keep at least at fourth place, and I got third place as a result. Now, moving on to the second race of the video, still in Group 3, is still in Lago Maggiore, but this time around we're going to be driving the Bmw Z4 Gt3, which was the biggest surprise to me. I love this car in Forza, for example, but I know that this car is a bit on the slower side. It has good handling, has good grip, but it lacks in the top speed department. So I was quite surprised to find that in GT Sport, at least, this car is very good. It's very competitive within its class. So we managed to get a decent qualifying lap time for this one, so we managed to start a little bit further into the grid than we did on the last race, which is quite good. In GT Sport, your qualifying lap time goes a long way in helping you securing maybe a podium or even a win. So yeah, we're in third place. This guy, I don't know if he didn't see me or if it was intentional, but he kind of turned into me and he almost lost control. I remained unaffected, so that's a good thing for us. We're gonna be chasing this guy and we're gonna try to reel him in and maybe get to second place and before the first lap is over. That would be ideal because this way perhaps we could increase the gap between all of the other racers. This guy slided a little bit over this corner. As I said in the last race, this corner, if you go full throttle in some of the cars, they tend to slide a little bit, so you need to be careful with your throttle control over that section. So we managed to get on the inside. We're gonna push for an overtake. I don't know if the move is on though. Again, he turned into me, and at this point I think he's a little bit way too defensive, and that might cost him a position, because if he keeps driving this way, it's very likely that he'll make a mistake sooner or later. And because of him turning into me, I lost quite a bit of speed and I lost position to this guy. And I think this is the Renault Sport. I don't know. This Porsche managed to overtake us just for a moment. I'm gonna try to be on the defensive and cover the inside so he can overtake me. And it worked. We managed to not only keep our position but also to uh, increase the gap a little bit. And now I think it's just a matter of trying to get as close at those two guys in front of us as quickly as possible, so I don't lose time battling the guys that are trying to overtake me. And as I said, this car is a real surprise because it is very stable. It's fairly quick. It's not the quickest car, but it's competitive enough. As you can see, I'm managing to pull away from the other guys, and I'm not driving that much differently from when I was driving the Hyundai Genesis. So um, this shows that this car is quite good in this class. I don't know if they rebalanced this car with the latest patch that they released. I think in the mid-December, patch 1.10, the patch that brought the career mode, the GT League, that brought the new cars. I don't know if they rebalanced this car. Need to check the change logs. But before the patch, it was quite good. So this Fabrizio, I think that's the guy's name, he's way too aggressive on his defense, and that's costing him quite a bit of time. The guy in the Renault managed to overtake him. He's gonna try to cut him on the inside and just edge him out, the other guy out. So that was quite a dirty move on his part. I think it was uncalled for. The guy in the Renault seems to be driving very respectfully, so I don't think that was necessary at all. And the guy in the Renault just lost control. Maybe he was, I don't know, he pushed too hard coming out of the corner because he wanted to overtake that guy. To be honest, it pisses anybody off when people drive this aggressively. There is no need for it. Just stick to your line, and when you don't want people to overtake you, adopt a defensive line without being overly aggressive, because you're screwing both the other person's race and also yours as well, because it costs you quite a bit of time when you do that. But anyways, I'm trying to get as close to this Fabrizio guy, and I'm a bit tense because I know he's gonna try to pull another defensive move, an overly aggressive one at that, and I don't wanna lose my podium in this race, because I'm racing very well in this race. It's not that common for me to race this well. But anyways, this guy is kind of fishtailing quite a bit out of the corners. I think he's feeling the pressure of having both me and the other guy that he screwed up trying to go for a move and steal the position away from him. We managed to get on his inside, so this was an overtake. Now I want to see if he's not gonna try to go for a move here, because that would mean getting pushed off the track, and that's something I really want to avoid, especially so because we're in the last lap and we're up in second place. That's quite unusual for me in this game in particular. I don't know what happened, but the guy in the Jaguar, Fabrizio, the guy who was overly defensive, he may have done something wrong. He may have fishtailed, lost a bit of time, but he's no longer in third position. He lost one extra position, so he's down in fourth place. We have this other guy fairly close to us, just a little bit over 6 tenths behind us. That's not a whole lot in this car class. That's, I think, less than a second. And the first place is way ahead of us. He's over 16 seconds, so we have no chance of overtaking him in this race. But that's fine. I'm quite happy with my second position, and I can't complain too much. That was a really fun race. There was some decent uh, battling for positions, even though some people tend to not drive as cleanly as we would have wished. But that's all good though, that's part of the fun after all. So we managed to secure a second place by the end of the race. All in all, that was a very decent race and a really, really fun one. So I can't complain too much. Moving on to the third race of the video, I decided to stick with the BMW Z4 Gt3. I really love this car, and I'm gonna be racing this car a lot more whenever I have the chance to choose it. This is a fun car to drive. So we're back on the same track. All of this was recorded in the same day, which is why there's not a lot of variety in the track selection for this video, because that was the car, the class that I stuck to. So I got on the inside of this Porsche, we made contact, and I gave him enough space to get his position back because I kind of pushed him off a little bit, and I don't want to overtake like that. Unless, of course, the person is trying to screw my race up, in which case I don't care if I edge them out unintentionally, quote unquote. But anyways, we're up in fourth place. Again, we did really well. We used the same qualifying time that we set in the last race, and that served us quite well because we're managing to start um, almost in the front of the pack, so that's kind of cool. But I can see that this Porsche guy is having a little bit of trouble keeping his car under control. So we're gonna capitalize on that and stay on the inside to close any sort of overtaking opportunity that he might have had. And that was, I don't know if it was a pileup back there, but it looks like there was some contact going on in there. So we're up in third place. We still have 3 laps left to go. We're not that far behind the second place. We're just a little bit over 3 seconds, and I just about managed to keep my car under control over that section. I got a little bit too eager to get on the throttle as quickly as possible, and I need to keep in mind that even though this car is stable, as with most of the cars in GT Sport, you need to nail the throttle control of pretty much every car, save for a few rare exceptions. But as a general rule, be smooth on the throttle, and that will go a long way in helping you keep your car under control. Otherwise, you're gonna be sliding out all the time at every corner, and that's not good because it's gonna cost you quite a bit of time. So the second place is starting to pull away from me. I don't know why. Maybe that's because I kind of struggled to keep my car under control out of that corner, and that costed me a couple, I would say, temps, but he's a little bit over 1 second further than he was a couple seconds ago. So it's not just a couple tenths. So we're approaching the banked corner. This really awesome corner. This is my favorite corner in the entire track. If you nail the angle of your car, you are able to take this corner at a fairly decent speed. If you're smooth on the throttle, that is. You can't go hard on that section because you will slide out. So we're starting to gain a little bit over the second place. It's still not enough to keep us to get us close to him to try to push for a move. We're still far behind, and we're about to cross the line into the third lap. So we still have maybe a little bit over 4 minutes of racing ahead to try and catch up to him and maybe go for a move. And I brake just as we come across the 100-meter markers. That's the optimal braking point for this car, at least for most of the cars in this class. Actually, that's the perfect braking point for most of the cars in Group 3. So we're gaining quite a bit over the second place now. I don't think he's battling the first place, so I think he might be driving a little bit slower. We managed to kind of reduce the gap by 1 second. We're in the lower 3 seconds, so there's still a chance for us to get the second place. And at the same time, I'm pulling away quite a bit from the fourth place. So this gives me a little bit of peace of mind, so I don't have to worry about anybody coming from the back trying to overtake me. This can be a nerve-wracking situation, especially so if the guy who is kind of trying to overtake you is faster than you. So this can be a nerve-wracking experience for sure. And we're still gaining little by little over the second place, so the gap decreased to just a little under 3 seconds. That's good news because we still have 1 lap left to go, and the guy just drove himself out of the track and into the tire wall. So that's good news for us because that means we got the second place. So I think now it's just a matter of trying to pull away from him as much as possible while trying to gain a little bit over the first place so we can try to fight for the pole position. And that's exactly what's going on, at least when it comes to pulling away from the third place. The first place is still quite consistent, so no changes there. And we're still gaining quite a bit over the third place. And the fastest lap was set by, I can't read his name, but it's something Florence 68. He set 156 and I set 157, so I'm not that far off from the pace of the first place. I'm fairly close actually. Let's hope he makes a mistake over the next few corners because that's just about as much as we have left in this race. We don't have a whole lot before the finish, before the race is over, so we need to remain as consistent as possible because it's paying off actually. I don't know if he's making mistakes or if I'm driving faster, but we managed to decrease the gap. But that's not gonna be enough because that's the main straight into the finish line. So that's gonna be the end of race number 3 of the video, and we got a second place again. So again, I can't complain about that. that that's very unusual for me, uh, to finish that higher up in the standing. So that's awesome news for me. Moving on to the last race of the video. Somehow I managed to qualify in first place for this race. I don't know how I pulled that off. I have no idea. It is the same qualifying time that I set for all of the other races that I've done with this BMW. So either the drivers that I'm racing against in this race are slower, or I don't know. But yeah, that makes sense. I didn't change my qualifying lap time, so that might explain why I'm starting in first place. So we're actually already gaining a bit over the second place. We're almost, yeah, we're over a second ahead of the second place. There's been quite a few position changes in the grid. Maybe there was an accident, I don't know, but something happened back there. I'm not looking behind because I'm trying to focus on my racing and trying to stay as consistent as I possibly can. And as it turns out, my consistency paid off for this race, because not only I set the fastest lap time in the race, I'm also going to get the first place in this race, my second first place ever in this game, after maybe, I think at this point I had 56 races done. So that's quite an achievement for me. And we're gonna finish the race with a second, with a 7 seconds gap. So that's awesome. But at the same time, not much happened during the race. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more GT Sport content, share the video with your friends and on your social media. It helps me out a lot, and I really appreciate the help. And I hope to see you guys in the next one. Bye.